Gon' kick it off then. Whoa. Gon' kick it off then. It ain't a game, kick it off then. Whoa. So gon' kick it off then. Huh? What we talking about, it goes deep.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching SheSPN the Network. This is WTF Too, Women Talk Football Too. I'm Latasha Miles, aka Joan Madden, the Gridiron Goddess, and I am accompanied by my dope, talented, fantastic, and beautiful co-host. Let the good people know who you are.
What's up, good people? It is your girl, the one, the only touchdown tomboy in the building on a Wednesday. And I'm ready for today. Okay. I had oh my God, we have just come out of the best Super Bowl weekend. Yo, girl, you better take over this show because I'm ready.
That's a great segue because we were going to talk about the newly crowned champions from the Super Bowl. And of course, the next three Super Bowls are in Arizona, Las Vegas, and New Orleans for 2023, 24, and 25, respectively. Halftime show turned us into the divided states of America. Unfortunately, we got some trade deadlines coming up and free agency coming up. Carson Wentz's name is coming up, could be traded, or if he's not, could be released if he's not traded. Also, eyeballing Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson is coming up into play, as well as Russell Wilson. So we'll see how those things come into place in the next month or so. Congratulations to Jonathan Owens on his engagement to the heavily decorated gymnast Simone Biles. And speaking of Watson, looks like he might be able to find a home soon in Minnesota or Florida, as the Vikes and Bucks are very interested. So we'll see how it goes. Let's kick it off with the first quarter. Congratulations due to my fellow WSSU Ram, who is on the LA Rams staff, Tori Woodbury. I'm a part of the staff of the Super Bowl champion LA Rams. They had a triumphant 23-20 win over the Cincinnati Bengals, becoming the second straight host team to not only host the Super Bowl, but win that thing as they followed in Tampa's footsteps from last year. So touchdown tomboy, what did the Rams do right to win this game? And what did the Bengals need to do in order to get back to this spot next year and also maybe even win the Super Bowl themselves?
I think we already know what happened because we called it. I mean, We got receipts, baby. So, so first things first is we talked about two studs on the defensive front in Aaron Donald and Von Miller, and that's what happened. Aaron Donald went to work in the second half. He limited Joe Burrow, or as we like to call him, Joe Cool, to less than 60 yards of offense in the whole entire second half. Sound like the defense did their job to me. And I think that was the biggest difference. And of course, the offense made plays when they needed to make them, but I would still say that the biggest difference had to be Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and I don't know, that Ernest guy who I'd never heard of before, that Raheem Morris made beautiful adjustments, figuring out how to get to Joe because they couldn't figure out how to do it at first. And then they figured out that the center was the weak spot of that defense. And they blitzed and they just kept jumping that center every time. And it drove Joe mad, okay? And of course, after that, then they had to make adjustments. And then, of course, Aaron Donald went to work. Aaron Donald did what Aaron Donald does. And then, of course, you know, Cooper Kupp is always going to be what Cooper Kupp is. And, you know, he bails Matt Stafford out. You know, unfortunately, OBJ tore his ACL again, but he was a big part of their offense. And so the Rams did what I thought the Rams would do. But overall, I think it was the defensive stance that they made in the second half that ultimately won them the game. Now, in terms of what the Bengals need to do, I would say the first thing that I feel like the Bengals need to do is that the Bengals are going to have to get more pressure up front on the defensive side of the ball, because the real reason why they were getting a lot of those penalties in the end zone with Eli Apple, it wasn't so much that Eli Apple was a bad corner. Matt Stafford had all day to throw because they won't get any pressure to him. And so you can't ask your corner to hold for hours and hours and hours and minutes and the receivers not come open. That's just virtually impossible. And that's because they're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. So Matt Stafford had all day to throw. And then the other thing that I would like to say that kind of happened more than anything is that Joe Burrow's O-line really got exposed. They sacked him 7 times, seven times. And I'm like, oh my God. At one time I thought poor Joe's knee was gone again. And I was like, this is bananas. So like they really have to spend some money on their offensive line. Okay. And they really have to spend some money on their defensive line. And you might have to get another corner that could help. You know, I mean, here's the thing. I know we get Eli Apple a lot of flack, but realistically, no corner can really hold that long because Matt Stafford had all day to throw. And he was going against Cooper Kupp. So, you know, you can't ask for much better than that. So that's what I think needs to happen. That's where I'm at with the whole thing. But overall, I think it was an excellent game.
Definitely, I agree with you. And of course, you know, the saying is defense wins championships. So we saw, and like we were saying, that the 9 sacks that Tennessee created against Joe Burrow, this was not the game that they could afford to do that. They came right behind it with 7. And we're talking about a Joe Burrow who has been sacked 19 times in the postseason. Also, he re-aggravated a sprained MCL there. So the O-line did a terrible job in protecting him. And as you alluded to, and like you said, yes, definitely issues in the secondary. We also called as well. We knew that the offense was going to have the advantage. Also, even Jalen Ramsey, he gave up 160 yards on the opposite side. So we knew that the receivers as a whole was going to have the advantage. As you also saw, even when Odell went out, Cooper Kupp did step up. He got a couple of touchdowns, almost 100 yards. So those things were no surprises because, again, the receiving core, they definitely had the advantage. Also, I just felt like one part that Cincy was missing that the Rams had was, the Rams had Eric Weddle, who is a veteran in the defensive backfield. The Bengals really don't have that type of veteran leadership to kind of keep things composed, except for Eli Apple. But if you look at his history, look, Michael Thomas couldn't wait, who was a former teammate of his at the Saints. He couldn't wait to get on social media to call him out like, look, this is just Eli being Eli. And then, of course, the Chiefs let him have it. I even saw a guy that said there hasn't been an apple to cause this much destruction since the Garden of Eden.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's like, one bad apple spoiled the bunch, and you can't really do all this talking and not be able to back it up. You might just want to, hopefully this was a very humbling experience, because you see Eric Weddle, he ain't saying nothing. He was just happy to be there and took advantage of the opportunity. And I kind of like that's the type of veteran leadership that you want and expect. So Eli Apple, yeah, you kind of bit off a piece of the apple that you couldn't really digest. And I don't want to be so redundant on everything that you said, but I totally agree, like you said, about Cooper Kupp stepping up, about Aaron Donald and Von Miller. These were things we warned about. So I will take a different direction and just go with also, I think, another key component as to why the Rams had success. It seems like the roles reversed for Cincinnati and the Rams. All postseason, the Bengals had been this more composed team that didn't panic, kind of kept it cool. We actually saw more cooler Matt Stafford. Like when Odell went down, they didn't panic. But when the Rams were making their comeback, Cincinnati had all these uncharacteristic penalties. They were kind of fighting these little internal civil battles amongst each other, kind of jawing at each other, where, again, the Rams kind of took the position that we've seen Cincinnati take. And I thought that was also a testament to Cincinnati didn't play their game. They didn't play the role that they had been playing. They started to become flustered and frustrated, and it translated to the field with the uncharacteristic penalties, the costly penalties, and the bad times that they had the penalties, like the one that set them up on 1st and goal that gave the Rams the lead. Penalties. And mind you, the first half was a completely clean, no penalties on either side of the ball. So again, we just kind of saw a Cincinnati team that was unraveling, not composed as we used to. And I think that hurt them a little more as well. I don't think that the Rams, I'm not looking at the Rams to repeat. We don't know what Donald's going to do. Von Miller already said he's interested in testing the free agency waters. Odell, will he heal on time? And how will he heal? So that's some question marks too. Sean McVay
want to retire. Is Odell going to retire? This is his second
Yeah,
entry
we
with the
don't
same
know.
knee.
Yeah, so we don't know. He's got a baby on the way and stuff, or by the time the show airs, he might have the baby. So yeah, maybe he might want to dip into fatherhood. I mean, then McVay was like, they asked him about him coming back, and he was like, "We'll see." I mean, maybe he was trolling, but there's just a lot of uncertainty for the Rams, and plus, this was an expensive ring for them. The Lions rather already had their first round draft pick. They gave up a lot. They surrendered a lot for this ring, so I don't foresee them getting back. I like Cincy's position a lot better. As you said, they definitely have to get some O-line. They're definitely going to have to do some things on defense. The one good thing though about Cincy going into this offseason, they do have a lot of cap space. And then Zach Taylor, he just signed an extension as well. So their pieces seem to be together. They have a young, strong core. So I like their odds better. They're just missing a few essential pieces. And plus they're playing in a division where, unlike them, there's quarterback controversy and questions and uncertainties for all of the other three teams in the AFC North. So they're in a lot better shape than other. When I say all, I'm saying all three of them, like Birdman, all three of them, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, quarterback question marks all across the board. So since he's in good shape to possibly win the division again and set themselves up nicely, but they have to make smart decisions with free agency coming up and maybe even some moves in the draft as well. All right, so moving along to the second quarter, we've seen the past two host teams win the Super Bowl. And in 2023, the Super Bowl comes to Arizona. Now, it would be nice for Arizona to pull off a hat trick and do the same, but things aren't so super in Arizona right now for Kyler Murray and the Cards. He's disgruntled. He shows some nonverbal disinterest on social media by unfollowing the Cardinals. And we know right there, that's the rule on social media. When you unfollow somebody, it's a wrap. So T-Squared, what do you think about this situation and what's the resolution?
Let me start off by saying this. The Arizona Cardinals have been a very trash organization for a while now. And I mean, we just got to call it what it is. And I don't like to call organizations trash, but I mean, the history is just what it is. I haven't seen a good quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals since Kurt Warner and I'll say Carson Palmer, because I felt like Carson Palmer was decent at times, but that's been almost 20 years ago. So the last time Kurt Warner was there was in 2003. Carson Palmer was there in his last time was in 2015-ish, 15, because that was the year we played them for that was Carson Palmer's last year in Arizona. That we met them in NFC Championship, right? We blew them out of the water, and that was with Carson Palmer, right? Now, since then, they've had Blaine Gabbert, Josh Rosen, Sam Bradford, Drew Stanton, Colt McCoy. Are any of those quarterbacks in the league?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So that tells you the organization that we're dealing with. So now, and then, not only did they screw over Josh Rosen before they got Kyler Murray, they screwed over Steve Wilkes. So it just seems to be this is a history of the Arizona Cardinals. So everybody's jumping on Kyler, but I'm starting to believe Kyler that it's not just all Kyler. I think that they're scapegoating him. Now let's just look at the facts of what they did. You brought in a rookie quarterback who's never played in the NFL a day in his life. You paired a rookie quarterback with a coach who had a losing season at Texas A&M, Texas Tech, wherever he was. He's never never coached a game in the NFL and thought that that was going to be good. And then you're saying that he's not a leader. He should be taught leadership. This is where you see the maturation, because you pair him with somebody that's experienced, that knows what they're doing. It is a disaster. And Arizona has nobody to blame but Arizona. And unfortunately, here's the thing. The biggest issue with Kyler Murray is that he's vertically challenged.
Yeah.
The boy has skill like no other. He has skill. He has talent. like out of the wazoo. The biggest issue is with him, the ball's being batted down at the line because he is only like 5'9" or 5'10".
Well,
But I'm almost certain that if you pair him with a coach that has some level of experience, they can fix that. I think that's the problem. And instead of Arizona owning it and saying, hey, this is the issue, we messed up. We didn't treat our franchise quarterback and give him the best tools to succeed. We own it. We were the organization. We did this. We're going to fix it. They just said, you're the problem, Kyler. And then they said that he was finger pointing, but then they came right out and they started finger pointing at him. Hello. Attitude reflects leadership, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I'm at with the whole Kyler thing. And here's the thing. If you don't want them, put them on the market and see how many other teams will come pick up them. Because I know quite a few teams that would love to have Kyler on their squad. Me, I would trade Kyler any day. Y'all can have Sam Darnold. I would take Kyler any day over Sam. Please, come get him. And Matt too.
And Matt too.
Matt Rule too. You can have him too. I'll take him. Most organizations would.
Right.
This is an Arizona problem to me. So, I mean, my thing is unfortunately, I think that the issue is going to become that they're going to do what they did to Josh Rosen, and they're going to figure out a way to not pay him and ship that good talent off. And then they're going to sit back and they're going to be, I'm serious, they're going to sit back later on. And when Kyler is somewhere thriving, because I think if you pair him with a coach that is responsible and basically requires a level of commitment, I think you'll get the best out of Kyler. And I think you see more from him. I think part of the problem is that they put him in a situation where they all are on the same level. Mm-hmm. How can there be a level of respect?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think that for starters, they need to keep the situation private. Like that, just that subtle unfollowing and deleting pictures, even though it was nonverbal communication, that's like the cardinal rule. Like that speaks trouble, that speaks volumes, that gains attention to it. Like, don't handle or leave any speculation or assumption to social media. Now, I have seen Cam Newton unfollow the Panthers every offseason. And I get it. Like, he don't even be mad. It's just, I don't play for y'all right now. It's the off season. So I don't want to get the day-to-day, just the regular stuff. Oh, team merchandise on sale. It's unnecessary. So I totally get the unfollowing could have something to do with that. But I really think that this Kyler Murray situation is bigger than that. What I think they really need to do is both parties sit down, Murray and the Cardinals, both of them are to blame here. As far as the handling of it, because I feel like Kyler doing that wasn't the best approach, because it's garnering unnecessary attention. And yeah, it's just kind of waving flames. And I just feel like they just need to have a sit down, face-to-face conversation. Kyler kind of tell him like, hey, take some accountability, but also let them know this is what I need. Like, I want to be successful, and I know I messed up with this, that, and the third, blah, 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 but this is what I need to succeed. Will you provide those tools for me? And the Cardinals need to take accountability and ownership. Like, hey, yeah, we probably did set you up with this coach. We probably didn't equip you with the correct tools. Maybe we need to plug some better holes on our offensive line, whatever the case may be. All of them just need to have a sit down and a reflection of just adults of this is why I messed up. This is what I do good. This is what I do well. This is what I need to exceed on. This is what I need to improve on. And this is what I need you to do to help me get there. Because at the end of the day, like it's a group thing. Yes, Kyler is the quarterback. Yes, he's the signal caller, but the front office, they have to put the pieces surrounding him to make it happen. So they need each other on that. Mm-hmm. And the coach has to call the right plays. And as you alluded to about Cliff Kingsbury, yeah, they had that strong 7-0 start. But if you look at Cliff Kingsbury's track record, that's what he always does. He always starts strong. And then he runs out of gas and he ends up the last stretch, he succumbs, and it's a terrible record. So that's why he does have that losing record. It's because he has these strong kicktail starts and jump starts, and then people either figure it out or they get content and they get stagnant, and he ends up faltering for the rest of the season. It's kind of like Dallas Cowboys as far as how they September, October, November, they're brilliant, and then December, January in the postseason, they fold like origami. And that's what Cliff Kingsbury is, the individual version of the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to his record and how he handles stuff down the stretch. So I really just feel like they all just need to have a sit down, get it together behind closed doors. Don't do any more of this unfollowing. And Arizona, they them took pictures down too. I mean, come on, that's really, really unnecessary. Like, y'all are acting like teenage boyfriend and girlfriend and Kardashian Kanye type stuff. But this is football, a multi-billion-dollar industry that we're talking about here, where the goal is to win Lombardis. The goal is to stay healthy. So the fact that y'all are carrying on like this is very childish. And don't get me wrong, I love me a dose of tea, and I'm here for it. But for this particular situation, you don't want to be like a AB and all the dramatics. Not saying it's gotten that far, but you don't want it to get there. You don't want to have these antics and stuff, and especially because it's unnecessary. And it's still at a point where it could be resolvable, but just handling it on social media. Nah, honey, take this off the media, closed door, arbitrated site, get the things resolved. Don't leave anything up for grabs on social media. And Murray, especially because you don't want this to trickle down as a team. And then they start looking at you funny, like they don't want to block you because, oh, you did this on social media. And then I started getting calls. And no, you don't want to do that. That's what I'm saying. Just everybody just have a closed door discussion like adults and just express feelings and concerns and handle it like adults, honestly, is how I think might be the best resolution for it. I hope Kyler Murray's on the team next year. We don't know. And if he is, I hope Arizona does plug the pieces for him to make things happen. Otherwise, we're looking at a sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just don't want to keep playing in Arizona situation with Kyler Murray. So y'all get that fixed. All right, handle it. Yes, ma'am.
So here's my question to you. Do you think that Arizona really gonna fix that? Because I don't. I just think that they're gonna do what Arizona has always done, and then because they don't like to pay their people, and I think they're gonna make it sound like it's a woe is you, and ship them out and pick up the newest candidate.
Well, I don't think that they're probably not going to look at Kyler Murray as a long-term situation. But if you're trying to draft somebody, you're not going to get a good Kyler Murray replacement in the draft. I think more of the issue is, but also, again, this is where Kyler Murray had to take some accountability. Kyler Murray is very, very spoiled. He's had a lot of success. So, and that uptick 7-0 start, and then they beat LA in LA early in the season, and they just kind of thought they were untouchable. So when the chips get down and you start having your back against the wall, I've seen Kyler Murray throw a lot of temper tantrums, and that's not the way to handle that. Like, as a leader, especially, and like, obviously Arizona invested some stock in him because they moved up to get him. So they trusted him. They saw something in him. And granted, I'm not taking away, like, Arizona did some errors, definitely. But Kyler Murray, you have to weather the storm, honey. Like, that 7-0 start, that they don't guarantee anything. And like I said, when they started losing, he started, making it visual on the field. And I think that wasn't the right way to go. But I don't think he's a long term, and Arizona probably will be done with him. But I still think that it's not as that bad to where it can't be resolved.
Well, so I hear what you're saying, but here's where my thing is okay. Here's the thing, and I think this is funny because this is what I'm saying. Now, in Kyler's situation, I don't see Kyler being no different than when Tom Brady is losing and he throws tantrums, or Aaron Rodgers is losing and he throws tantrums. I don't see the difference. And people don't throw them under the bus like that. The biggest difference is those guys have been in the league for a long time. They played the game a long time, so they've mastered the game a long time. People forget Kyler is 24 years old and he's 5'9". That's the biggest issue here. And he doesn't have the pieces in Arizona. He really don't. I mean, outside of D Hopkins, he doesn't have any pieces.
But you also know this is always gonna play a factor. You know
That's true. But I mean,
But
I get what
also,
you're saying. That's true. But what I'm saying is I just don't understand how all of a sudden he's a spoiled brat. Well,
yeah.
every quarterback that loses they
Yeah,
spoiled
well,
brat.
no. Here's the other difference. When you brought up Tom Brady was a late 6th-round draft pick. Tom Brady had a chip on his shoulder, and that's where part of his leadership came in. He was never spoiled because you're talking about a guy who, like even Cooper Kupp. This is a guy that only got one offer, 0 stars. So they're
Cooper and Tom Brady. I don't put them in the same category.
What I'm saying,
I get what you're saying. I'm talking about, I know the Tom Brady you're talking about. Tom Brady, when he first started, you're absolutely right.
Which
Tom
is Kyler
Brady,
Murray.
Tom Brady, but Tom Brady now was a sport. When he loses, he's a spoiled brat.
But here's the other thing about Tom Brady. He also had Super Bowls plural, and Kyler Murray's not there. That's the other thing. You kind of get some of those slaps on the wrist and pass because of that, because you get hardware. But also the other thing, and Tom Brady also, as a leader, when the chips get down, he's also gone and talked to his O-line. He's also gone and went in that tablet. He's also gone and looked at that film. So I just don't think Kyler's there yet.
Well, I don't know. My jury is out on that, because when he broke that Surface Pro this year, because they were losing really bad to the Saints, I didn't see that. I didn't see that Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady didn't do that at 24. Tom Brady was.
That's the point. That's the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what age you are. It shouldn't matter if you won 20 Super Bowls or 2 Super Bowls. If you're brat, you're brat. If you're not, you're not. It's a Tom
Brady had a Super Bowl at 24. You know they're going to grade it on that. It just comes with the territory.
But to me, I don't feel like what I'm saying is it's either you're brat or you're not. It's either you are a good leader and got good sportsmanship, or you don't.
And that's what I'm saying. So when everything was 7-0, Kyler Murray didn't act like that. But as soon as the chips get down and stuff's not going your way, you just gotta.
And I'm not disputing what you're saying, but I'm just saying is that I don't know many quarterbacks who don't do that. I don't. I mean, maybe Russell Wilson.
Hey, Matt Stafford suffered a lot of that in Detroit, and you see what it paid off.
That's because they was bad. I think in that situation, they was bad for so long. That kind of just like Arizona. When you talk about people that are used to winning at a high level and they start losing, I don't know many of them who do not throw tantrums. I don't.
Did Trevor Lawrence this year? How bad was Trevor Lawrence this year?
But I don't think that was even his personality to begin with. And I didn't even really watch a lot of his games to see what he did. So I can't really speak to if Trevor Lawrence acted up like that or not.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. I just threw him out because he was another one. He never lost in college. He never lost in high school. And then,
well, I heard that Trevor was pretty frustrated with
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I didn't know either. But I'm just like, I don't know.
I'm just saying, when you're used to the point that I'm making is when you're used to winning and you don't know how to lose and you start losing, even though that's a reality, I think that is just how they respond. Now, I'm not saying that it's excusable by any means or stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that at all. However, what I am saying is I feel like at the end of the day, he's 24 years old. He's going to mature past that. He'll grow with that. He'll become better. But I still see quarterbacks doing it, and they 34, 35 years old.
Well, we're also looking at a Joe Burrow getting to a Super Bowl at 25, Ben Roethlisberger winning a Super Bowl at 23, 24, Brady went. So some of that stuff just comes with the territory of the measuring stick. That's not his fault, but it just comes raw.
That's true, but those people also had different. I would say out of everybody that you just named, most of those teams had really good defenses, which their defense was, the Cardinals' defense was not good. And
it started good. Remember, they got 7 sacks on Tennessee week 1. And
it was not good. It was not good. And that's what I'm saying. It was not good. And then you're talking about coaches that have been able to duplicate veteran coaches we got a Pee Wee League coach over here. So the point that I'm making is I don't feel like he's been put in the best conducive environment to win. Period.
But it didn't start like that at 7-0. So then when the tests come, you know,
and all I'm saying is I feel like you're absolutely right, is that everybody got to take accountability. But how they throwing Kyler Murray under this bus is absolutely not right. Because honestly, he started with the unfollowing because they started with him first. That's how it all started.
But that's why I was saying, as far as like, they don't need to do any of this on social media. They need to just sit down and have a grown-up conversation.
The Arizona Cardinals themselves started it. So it's like, then he unfollowed us, and it's like, you don't know why, but y'all are grown people who put this person in a terrible situation, and you don't know why they responded like this.
Well, we'll see how it goes. So we'll resume with the third quarter, and during the week of the Super Bowl, all 9 coaching vacancies got filled. We kind of bypassed that topic, of course, because we were so engulfed with the Super Bowl coming up. But now that the champs have been crowned, we'll go back to that. T-Square, who do you think were the best and worst moves with the 9 coaching vacancies?
So now my favorite move out of all of the vacancies, I think, was Brian Daboll, of course, because I just really liked what he did. Oh, I feel like kind of like his mind and the progression. I feel like with Brian Daboll, I kind of like his progression of how he grew Josh Allen. And I kind of feel like he did it right. And because I feel like he did it right, I think he'll do the offense. I don't know if it's going to be with, but I do feel like he has the pieces, he has the mindset that he could do it right. My jury is out on the guy from down in Miami, because that's just, he comes from Cal Shanahan. You know, I love some Cal Shanahan. You know, I love Cal Shanahan. But I don't know how far that tree extends. So I can't really say if he's going to be good or bad. So I don't know, but I mean, if he has a mind on any level, like Cal Shanahan, it may make for some good football. I doubt it though. Simply just because, you know, that I feel like that the Miami Dolphins are going to get karma and they're going to be worse. And that is what I hope for them. And I hope they reap everything that they've sowed. Okay. Now, on to something else. So now the worst hires I feel like were Josh McDaniels. And you know how I feel about that. How do you get 3-4 tries as a coach and you ain't even win on the first go round? You was terrible. You was terrible then. You're terrible now. And all of a sudden you get, and then you didn't even get you got a actually decent organization to run that actually had pieces there. You got a good quarterback in Derek Carr. And that's the part that made me mad, because I love Derek Carr. And now I got to watch this clown, Coach Derek Carr, every week if he don't trade him, and knowing he don't know what he doing. The only one off of the Bill Belichick tree, or the only 2 that's been worth anything, has been Mike Vrabel and Brian Flores. Mm-hmm. All the rest of them, send them home to Papa. Send them home to Papa, because they terrible. They ain't good. Now, so that kind of bothers me. And then, you know, the whole cheating scandals, the issues in Denver, like it just came out of the wazoo. Like, what? No, you're probably better as an OC, and we're probably going to see that this year. And I don't know what the Raiders they'll figure out a way to mess something up. Okay. And then the other thing that I think the other hire that I'm most disappointed in is the Lovie Smith hire. And the reason why I'm disappointed in the Lovie Smith hire is not so much because it's Lovie Smith, because I love Lovie Smith as a coach. But I'm disappointed in it because I know that they used Lovie.
Right.
And I didn't like the fact that Lovie allowed himself to be used. And that's why I'm disappointed in the hire, because I know they're going to turn around and do him just like they did David Culley. Yeah. And they forced him to put that clown Josh McCown on there, on his coaching staff, who had been coaching Pee Wee League
Right.
so they can replace him with Coach Levy. I'm like, what? No, you're not gonna use me like that. No, don't hire him. That's what you want to do, but you're not gonna use me. And I think that's why I'm disappointed in that hire. It's more so about what they're trying to do with that hire than anything. If you were gonna do that, you should just kept David Cullen.
Right.
So that's why I'm disappointed in that hire. But that's where I'm at with these hires.
I agree with you about the Lovey thing. I hope he excels, but they hired Lovey because all that Brian Flores stuff. They were really going to go with McCown. And honestly, I didn't even know Lovey was on the coaching staff until I still thought he was at college. I didn't even know he was on the coaching staff until he was hired. Basically like a promotion, they were saying. As far as the worst hire, I thought the Chicago one was pretty bad. Because I know the Bears are they're all about defense and they go after defensive coaches. But that hasn't been a good remedy lately. I mean, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I don't know why you didn't gamble and take a different chance, especially because your defense hasn't really been the issue the past years. It's been your offense, from Cutler falling off to Orton, Trubisky. The Foles experiment didn't work. And then you go out and you move up. You moved up to get Trubisky. Then you turned around and moved up to get Fields too. And this is supposed to be your franchise quarterback, and then you want to develop him and you want to groom him. So I don't know why you didn't go after an offensive guru. And plus, I think Fields' confidence was shaken up this season because of all the back and forth, and you had Foles in, and granted some of it was injury, but you also were having Andy Dalton. There was no consistency. So I really felt like implementing an offensive mind would have also helped give him a boost as well. And again, I mean, this is who you're investing your franchise in, not a defensive end or not like a defensive lineman. You're not building your team around any of them. You're building around a quarterback, a young quarterback at that. So I really felt like they went the wrong direction. I'm not saying that guy's a bad coach. I just like the angle. It was just a bad angle. I really thought that they should have went offense on that. So I thought it was a bad move. The Brian DeBall move was good. And, anything against Brian Flores, I'm not rooting for. I'm not rooting for Denver because of the John Elway stuff. Him saying you were drunk, and I know none of this stuff has been proven, but it does sound legit because this is still the good old boys industry. I mean, it is just off of it. Just look at the history of it, and I'm still rooting for Brian Flores, even though is looking bad for him overall, with the Hugh Jackson stuff and nobody else really stepping up. And of course, John Elway just kind of saying, I wasn't drunk, I was jet lagged. So
just an interjection on that. You know that the NFL investigation, I was reading the article this morning. I'll send it to you if you haven't read it. That the NFL investigation is looking like they have found Stephen Ross guilty of trying to throw games $100,000.
Well, I was about to say that we're going back to with just any team just against Brian Flores, like Denver. I know Brian DeBall was a good hire, but I'm against that too because I thought Brian Flores should have been there because he's from Brooklyn, and it would have been nice to see the Giants have for the first time ever a black coach. And I don't even necessarily mean that from race. I just mean maybe it's just time to shake up things and change the culture. Just something new, something refreshing. He's from Brooklyn, and then all the wrong text messages from Bill Belichick. I didn't like how any of that stuff went down with the Giants. Felt like you already wanted to hire the ball in advance, and you were just wasting his time to meet the Rooney Rule. So I don't want the Giants to do well or the ball as a result of that. And then, like you were talking about with Miami, I definitely don't want Mike McDaniel to do good only because he's at Miami. And if Stephen Ross has to be like Donald Sterling from the Clippers was, I'm totally fine with that. If he has to give up the team, totally fine with that. Anything against Brian Flores, I do not want to prosper. So I'm not going for any of them three, even though again I think that the ball hire was good. Probably my other another hire that I like. I definitely like that the Vikings went after McConnell. The offense should explode, and then you go get this Super Bowl winning coach from the Rams. So I thought that was a good move. And I really honestly, I know it's a different direction, but I like the Doug Peterson move to Jacksonville only because I wanted them to get Leftwich. They messed up there. They fumbled that bag, and I know Leftwich wanted Adrian Wilson, which I agreed with. But now that that's over, I like the Doug Peterson move because, like, come on, this is the guy that got Philly their first and only Super Bowl. He did it with a backup quarterback. I kind of like all of that. And just like you and I have been right about Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson was also right about Carson Wentz. And that was part of the issues that he had with the Lorries. Like, he wasn't feeling it. And look at Carson Wentz, gone to another team, didn't make the playoffs, gave up all them draft picks for him, and he's probably about to get released. So just and Doug Peterson came from that Andy Reid tree. We've seen what Andy Reid has done over the years in that lineage. And also, Doug Peterson, this is a guy who faked a walkthrough for the Super Bowl just in case New England was cheating. I mean, they are the New England Patriots. And just in case, he faked a walkthrough. I thought that was so genius and so important for the Eagles winning that Super Bowl. That strategic move right there. So Doug Peterson, he's all right with me. They got the number 1 pick. I think he'll make a splash with it. So yeah, I like that move too. Peterson and McConnell are my big boosters as far as coaching moves. And everybody else, anybody against Flores, I'm not for it. And Chicago, I just thought they laid an egg on that one. All right, so concluding with the fourth quarter, another situation we really didn't get to talk about because we were so focused on Super Bowl week. But the NFL honors and the members who will be inducted to the Hall of Fame, they were announced during that week. So we have the list posted up on the screen so you can see the names. But T Squared, who are the snubs for the NFL honors and the Hall of Fame?
So for the NFL Hall of Fame, my biggest snub, I think, in my personal opinion, really was DeMarcus Ware. I don't know how he didn't get in on the first go round. Like, I get it. I know, Sam Mills and all those guys, they were all toward the end, but come on, DeMarcus Ware, come on, 9-time, defensive rookie of the year, 9-time Pro Bowler, defensive player of the year 2 times, 7 times all pro. Like, those stats alone is like, hey, first ballot Hall of Fame. He should have got in on the first time. And so to me, him and also Zach Thomas didn't get in either. And so linebacker for Miami, he didn't get in either. And he has stats that are pretty darn good too. And I'm sitting here like, okay, so now maybe we might be needing to reevaluate how we do this whole Hall of Fame thing, because we got guys that are serious contenders that are not getting in because we got other guys who legit should get in, but they right there on the end. If they don't get in, if they don't get in this 20-year window, then they not gonna get in. Like, who says they have to be in a 20-year window? They get in when they get in, but that shouldn't alleviate the top tier players from getting in either. You know what I'm saying? Like, who says there has to be a cap on how many people get in? Just vote. And hey, we're sure about this. This is what we're doing. So maybe they need to readdress that. But I definitely feel like they were snubbed. Definitely DeMarcus Ware. And of course, I'ma say it loud and I'ma say it again. Cooper Kupp was snubbed for NFL MVP. I'ma say it one more time for the people in the back. Cooper Kupp was snubbed for NFL MVP. Let me give you stats because y'all know y'all like stats. Let me give y'all some stats, okay? Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers got MVP this year again. But here's the thing. When you get MVP, typically your years transcend, right? Not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' year was worse. Let me give you his 2020 stats. 2020 stats, he had 4,299 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a 79.8 QBR. 2021-22 stats, 4,115 yards, 37 TDs, which is basically 11 less touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a QBR of 69.2.
Yeah, that was a team drop.
Less.
Yeah.
He had less.
Yeah, big
and
drop.
Still got MVP. Now let me give you Cooper's numbers, because this was a big jump for Cooper Kupp. Okay, this is all factual. NFL, you got it wrong, and y'all should be dissatisfied with what you did, because now you're making it look like you're voting on popularity, not based on what the stats say. Because that's what it's looking like. Because the stats say Cooper Kupp should have got it, because his stats said they should have got it. Let me give you Cooper stats just for the folks in the back. Okay. 2020, Cooper Kupp had 1,007 yards and 7 touchdowns. That was his stats in 2020. Cooper Kupp stats for this year were 1,965 yards and 16 touchdowns. He doubled himself in every area.
Yeah.
Explain. I'm waiting for an NFL. Give me reason.
Right. Matt Stafford factor. Huge. That was huge.
He doubled himself. It was no reason why Cooper Kupp didn't get the NFL MVP. Forget, he should have had Offensive Player of the Year, All Pro, Pro Bowl, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and he should have had them all, and the Triple Crown. He should have got them all. He earned them.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like they went more with a popularity contest, and I'm really surprised as well that they gave it to Aaron Rodgers with all the controversy he had. I was really super duper surprised at that. With all the COVID and the vaccination, and I'm immunized. I was like, no, they're not gonna give it to him. And like you said, also because of his numbers, so yeah, it could be a popularity contest, or they might think like, oh, this is Aaron Rodgers last year. In the NFL, like with the Packers, maybe they want him to go out with that. And I honestly think that they thought it was going to be automatic for the Packers to win the Super Bowl this year, because all these votes have to happen. All that takes place before the playoffs and then the Super Bowl. I think they thought that, okay, this is the Aaron Rodgers year to win the Super Bowl, so they probably want to couple that with they win the Super Bowl and they win the MVP. But it didn't happen. He lost in his first round against the 49ers. Now he's on the court against them in the playoffs. But yeah, definitely should have been Cooper Kupp. I don't even know if Cooper Kupp got any votes for MVP, or if it was close. But it just goes to show you, like, look what he did in the postseason and in the Super Bowl, and now he has the same amount of Super Bowl rings and Super Bowl MVPs as Aaron Rodgers. So take that, all that time Aaron Rodgers been in Green Bay, he only got 1 Super Bowl MVP and 1 Super Bowl ring. Here come Cooper Kupp. We all denied giving him the MVP. He's matched that. So yeah, riddle me that, like the irony in that. I also, like, Coach of the Year, it was really hard to pick. I'm not saying it was a snub. They could have went with Zach Taylor. They could have went with Aaron Rodgers' coach. Matt LaFleur, Coach Carl, never not call him that with the Helter Skelter voice, but I mean, they could have gone either way. I was surprised Mike Vrabel won, but not disappointed. But that Coach of the Year was kind of wide open. As far as Hall of Fame, I'm very biased on this. I totally agree with you about DeMarcus Ware. Honestly, I forgot about Zach Taylor from Miami, because I've been like, the Zach Taylor that's been resonating right now is Zach Taylor from the Bengals. Just because he's been in the news so much, so I completely forgot about Zach Taylor from the Dolphins. But in the Hall of Fame, of course, I'm biased, but I thought that Torrey Holt got snubbed. Only more so, again, because yes, he's the homie, but he got inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame this year. I couldn't believe we didn't make it 2 for 2 and give him the double-double. But it was really trippy too, because they let Dick Vermeil get in the Hall of Fame this year. I mean, that was his coach at the time they won that Super Bowl, and Torrey Holt won the Super Bowl his rookie year, part of the greatest show on turf and all the bobbing and weaving. And if I'm not mistaken, Isaac Bruce is there, and I think Marshall Faulk is there as well. So I don't know. I just kind of thought, like, it's kind of like the triplets. Like, it was like a Troy Aikman and your Emmitt Smith and your Michael Irvin. But Torrey Holt is just as significant of a piece of that puzzle as well. And again, he definitely, the numbers he put up in his rookie year, and then winning a Super Bowl also in his rookie year, and then you put the coach in, it just didn't align to me. They didn't put that tandem in together. If you're gonna put Vermeil in, you already got the other 2 parts of that greatest show on turf, that they didn't put Torrey Holt in as well. So I felt some type of way about him. I love that your boy Sam Mills got in. I thought that was the right move. Richard Seymour, a lot of them I definitely thought they got right, but yeah, DeMarcus Ware and Torrey Holt for me, and like you said, Zach Taylor, yeah, those were definitely some snubs. All right, so overtime as we wrap up another exciting NFL season for you, Touchdown Tomboy. What were the best and worst parts of the postseason?
of course, the best part of the postseason to me of always the playoffs, but the worst part is the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is horrible. And even after we had talked about the Pro Bowl, you was like, you never watch it. I was like, no, it's just for accolades. So I made it my point that I was gonna sit down and really try to like make myself watch it. And never again will I. Because it was, here's the thing. I get it. It's not a real game. I know that, injuries and stuff can happen, but at least try to act like you want to try to win something. Do a little something, like put a little effort into it. Like it was no effort at all. It was just like they might as well just been on there playing flag football. Like it was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm just like, they need to find a way to make it more entertainment. Maybe like the All-Star game with the basketball or some type of contest or something. I don't know, because the Pro Bowl right now is a joke.
And they need to go back to Hawaii too. I think that was probably some of their better numbers. It was in Vegas. Nobody cared about the Pro Bowl in Vegas. You can go gamble in casinos
and get in trouble like Alvin Kamara.
Exactly. So yeah, I think they probably need to take it back to Hawaii to make it more family oriented. Who want a vacation in Hawaii? I don't know, but I agree. The Pro Bowl is and I think the numbers even this was like the worst. The AFC won for the 8th year in a row, or the 8th year that they've had it with the AFC versus NFC. And I think they said this was like the lowest numbers as well in the 8 years too, or something like that. So yeah, they definitely need to make some adjustments. I agree with you about the postseason, the games, more specifically the divisional round that we call the 3-point games. Overtime, we had some road teams win. And of course, the Super Bowl, the faces and the storylines. Jefferson, a wife going into labor as they were celebrating. Matt Stafford just celebrating his 34th birthday, and then he caps it off at the end of the week with the Super Bowl. Sean McVay becoming the youngest the youngest coach in history to win the Super Bowl. And they took it from my boy Mike Tomlin, but that's okay. That's what happens with history. The records are meant to be broken. So just all the historic, oh my gosh, the iconic halftime show. My goodness, like that groundbreaking history making halftime show. So big fans of definitely the games and that. And then the worst part for me was like the season's over. Like it takes so long to get here and it goes by so fast. So of course we got free agency coming up and draft and stuff to kind of pacify us, but I hate that the season's over. Of course we watch other sports, but you know how it is for us. Football is big, and I wasn't a fan of the coaching carousel either. Just the Brian the Cully stuff and how the Raiders interim coach, even though he kept that team afloat, I was upset they got rid of him. Yeah, the Lovie Smith stuff, all the stuff with Brian Flores, now I'm surprised that Matt Rule made it another year. Just I don't know, it's just the coaching carousel really bothered me a lot this year, and just wasn't really a big fan of some of the hires or some of the firings either. So I'm really bothered by that. All right, so we wrap up another amazing, fun, filled, exciting, and accurate. We've been really, really on it, Touchdown Tomboy, with the WTF 2 episodes this season. We're going to take a brief hiatus, just a couple of weeks, free agency's coming up, Wednesday, March 16th, I believe. So it'll give us a little bit of time to kind of regroup and things like that. But it's also the week of daylight savings time. It's start getting darker a little later. So come on, free agencies. We got spring to look forward to, and extra earlier sunrises, later sunsets. I don't care about losing an hour of sleep. I don't care about that. I'm with the longer night. So T-Square, anything you want to add before we take this mini break?
No, man, it's been so fun. Like it has been like so amazing. And like we've had so many changes in this season. And I think about just where my hair started at the beginning of the season, where it is now. Like we've had so many changes. Okay. So and it's like really, it really is like the best relationships because it's like y'all, you know, it's like it's what you do, and it's like people watching you every week, and it's like we talked about this, and people's like, man, y'all did it again. Like, and I'm like, yeah, we, you know, but I'm gonna miss it because it's just so much fun, and it's like, yeah, we gotta take a couple weeks off, but because I mean we do have lives and things we have to do.
Yeah,
But
sure.
you know, it's like, yeah, it's been an amazing, amazing season. And
Gotcha.
I just hope that the seasons keep transcending. That's what I really hope more than anything else. And of course, football is babe, but I got a strong side piece coming up. Because women gotta be talking basketball too, okay?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
Very true.
no, so yeah, but I'm gonna miss football, of course, and I'll just have to entertain myself with my side piece for a few weeks. And
Yes, and it's funny. I actually got a phone call from a guy named Al Mosley. He was like, "Are y'all not doing women talk basketball too?" I was like, "I don't know. I might just say something just really good about them. I don't know. I mean, They
you
tell-
know, I got two players that I love.
right? That's
You
true.
know?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Between
true.
John Morant and LaMelo Ball, you know I'm gonna talk about them,
Yeah,
okay? They coming
that's
up
very
every
true.
week, okay? And Chris Paul, okay, because he from the hometown, you
From
know.
the yeah, he the homie, definitely.
You know, they'll push me. And Steph Curry, because you know, Steph Curry got some Steph Curry's family got some strong ties to some people that
Right.
I'm really closely connected to. So some family ties. And these are people that I've grown up with my whole life. And so of
Okay.
course, yeah. So actually his Steph Curry's family are some church people that I grew up with.
Uh-huh.
It's like church that I grew up with. They're his first cousins. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so like I watch them just because I know of him through them, because you know they always looking at what he does and stuff like
Of
that.
course, yeah, as expected. Well, okay, there you got some more ties there. Good stuff. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in, the feedback, and staying tuned with us. But again, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. It's no biggie there. So enjoy basketball in the meantime. And of course, there's no baseball spring training going on because there's a lockout. And so yeah, interesting there. But yeah, we will see you guys in the next couple of weeks. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the support, the comments, love, feedback. And so we are out. Touchdown Tomboy, Gridiron Goddess. We'll catch you guys in a couple of weeks. WTF 2, Women Talk Football 2, and we're out.